YouTube, what's going on? This is a Matchbox Camaro convertible and a Holden. Ugly car truck. I know all you Aussies love these things, but I don't like it. But who am I, right? Holden Ute SSV 2010. I think that it is quite ugly personally. But this is, I think, the multi-pack exclusive in purple. It certainly has some nice detail. It's nicely done by Matchbox. There's your tail light detail. Kind of the same thing with the Camaro here. Nice headlight and tail light detail. Chevy. I think I have this one. Not positive, but I think I do. All right, so there's those. Okay. Before I get into the trade, I did get a trade box from him. I experimented a little bit, and I haven't really looked up close, but trying to pull some more of the detail out on some of these wheels. So here's the Celica with the black wash. Definitely makes a noticeable difference. Whether or not you think it's better, I guess, is kind of subjective. Personally, I think it is better. If it's not too sloppy, which, you know, it's not the easiest thing to do. This one I think came out real nice. So these wheels, this is a Konami Hakosuka Skyline. These wheels are black. They come black with the car. So I painted them silver and they looked really good, but they were, it was almost like, it was just too much, you know? And so I did the black wash. It really pulled a lot of the detail out. I mean, these things look incredible in my opinion. I mean, they look old. They don't look new by any stretch. But holy cow, the detail looks great. So, been working a little bit with that. Don't think I'm going to get too crazy with that, especially on the premium cars like these. You know, because I just took a $20 car and some would say devalued it. But I like the way it looks a lot better. And it just goes to show you that the sculpted detail on those Konami wheels are pretty impressive. I mean, that's just a killer looking wheel. This one here isn't quite as good. Okay, so that's some of the experimenting I've done. I have one more that I'll show at the end after the trade box. So, anyways, he messages me on Instagram. This is from Zach Mansur. I've done multiple trades with him. He's pretty active on Instagram. But I've actually been getting contacted relatively frequently lately with people asking me to build them dioramas. And I'm not opposed to doing it, but there are some criteria that will have to be accepted. And the biggest thing is just the size. It's got to be like the one that I did for 100 Little Cars. That's the size. I don't want to do bigger than that because it's got to be able to fit in a large flat rate box or smaller. So if you want something like what I did for 100 Little Cars, I can do that. This one here would be too big. This is 12 feet by 15 feet. So this would be too big for shipping. As far as what you want on the layout, you know, that's what's going to determine the cost. The layout that I'm making for these cars that we're going to take a look at is very simple. So it shouldn't be a big deal. But to do a layout like this, it's a more complex build, more materials. I'd have to purchase the building and all that kind of stuff. So the cost definitely varies. And also the waiting time is going to vary because I don't know when I'll be able to get to it. So that's one thing about Zach with this trade is he's very flexible on the time. And it may be a couple months before I get around to starting it. The thing is, once I start it, it should go pretty quick. And if I start it before then, it'll go quick. His really shouldn't take too long. And I have all the material. The one thing I don't have that I need to get is the drywall spackle. But anyways, here's what he sent me. I'm glad he sent them because I know I'm never going to find them in my area. Cars like this they're just basically for the folks that don't have day jobs. This thing is awesome though. I don't like the graphics all that much. I wish it were a solid color like the Forza release, which I missed out on. But I do like the casting. The headlights are very, very nice looking. And I think this is a new Hot Wheels wheel tool. I know it's at least relatively new. I haven't seen them before. But that's a pretty awesome car. This is actually a pretty cool little set here. Let's see if I can find. Okay, so here are the cars that are available, and the one car that I didn't get that I really want to get, and if any of you find it, please help me out with it. And that's the Ford Escort. I have no interest in the Lamborghini, but I did get the other three. So again, if you guys have an extra Ford Escort, please let me know. So that's the Nissan Silvia. Really cool car. This one here is awesome too. Now we've seen this car a bunch of times from Hot Wheels. This is only the second time we've seen the R34 casting with a metal base and rubber tires. First time was with the Retro Entertainment series. It was the blue one. But this is the first time we've seen this deco with metal base and rubber tires. Great detail, headlights, indicators. The wheels look real nice. This is a nice Hot Wheels tooling to begin with, so it looks pretty darn good. Got taillight detail with indicators and the California plate. So that's pretty awesome there. And then of course we have my favorite of the three, which is the R32. So the silver and blue one is the Nissan Skyline R34. This is the R32, so this is the predecessor. A little bit more sleek. Kind of wish it had a lower stance. but it still looks fantastic. I think of all the modern Skylines, this is definitely my favorite. I just think the body lines on the R32, I like them a lot better than the R33 and the R34. And our good friend drives one of these. Well, I don't know if I'd say he drives it. He owns one. He drives it on occasion. His is, I think it's a 1990. It is the Nismo edition GTR. And every time I go to his house to make diecast deals, we make all of our deals on his trunk. It's pretty awesome. But yeah, it looks great in black with the black wheels. So all three of these have the same wheels. The Lamborghini wheels and the Ford Escort wheels are different, but these are all the same. Obviously, the R32 has the black wheels, and these ones have the chrome. But as far as Hot Wheels goes, these cars basically just fit in with all the highly detailed stuff they've been doing with the Car Culture series. So to throw these three cars in with the Skyline van and the C210 and the Laurel, which all are metal body, metal base, rubber tires, headlight, taillight detail. It's awesome that Hot Wheels is making that kind of stuff for us to collect. So, little thing I was messing around with tonight. I had an extra lot of Matchbox best of, I think they are, best of the world. And I had that green Mercedes, and I got to thinking that those wheels would make really nice donor wheels. And so this is what I came up with here. This is a 1982, 81 or 82. It's an R30 Skyline. Now the axle is very, very tight on the car. So I'm going to have to modify that. But other than that, I would rather use these axles and try to make it work than make a new axle. So you can always tell when somebody makes an axle. They just don't look as good, in my opinion. I guess some of them look okay, but the ones where they just take the rod and then pinch it off at the end, like, to me, those, it's very noticeable. So I'd rather try to figure something else out and use a factory axle like this. But I like that look. The colors, or the color of the wheels on this red R30 from the factory at Nissan were gold, or like a bronzish color with the red body. So I don't know the style of the wheels. I don't think they were 6-spoke, but I don't remember. But at least I got the color right with some rubber tires, and it looks way better than the wheels that were on it. It's a really nice casting. One of Hot Wheels' best mainline castings. So, all right, there's the Skylines. And that's pretty much it, actually. I did grab a couple cars that I wanted to look at, so we'll take a look at those. Got some premium detail stuff, some really... There's only 3 cars, so I'll go quick. The first one's probably not going to wow too many of you, but I like it. It's a really neat little car, just cuter than hell. Little Toyota Republica in this bluish green color. And see, this is kind of how the wheels looked on the Hako Skyline. They just looked very silver. And same thing on this. You know, if I were to blackwash these, they would just look better to me because it pulls all the detail out. But the problem with it is I'm not all that good at it, and I don't want to be doing it to all the cars, ruining the cars. So some of the cars I'm just gonna have to live with. I'm not, generally speaking, I'm not a big fan of altering diecast in any way, whether it's putting real riders on a Hot Wheel like I just did, or detailing the wheels like this, or even sending cars off to have people do them. I typically don't do it, but every now and then I will. But in this case, with this car, I'm going to leave it as it is. Really cool little car. Transparent lens headlights and taillights. Awesome little Konami here. This vintage Toyota. So much character. And I think that's really why I like vintage Japanese cars so much. Is there's just something about them. The charm. I don't know. It's hard. I can't really put my finger on it. The styling. I think overall I do like the styling better. It's not to take anything from American styling of the 60s and 70s. The U.S. had some great automotive styling back then. But I guess it's just what your preference is, you know? Like, as an example, the most popular cars are probably vintage European cars, and I'm not all that big on those. I like them, but if I had $100,000 to restore a classic car, it wouldn't be a vintage European car. This is the TLV Toyota Supra. This is another car that I wish I could do the wheels. Tomica should have done it for us on this car. All the back shadows on those wheels should have been done. They don't typically cut a lot of corners, but that is a corner that they will cut regularly. And it's weird because sometimes they'll skip it, like on this car, and then other times they'll do it. And when they do it, it looks really good. It's a nice quarter angle shot there. Okay, so this last car, I love it more and more every time I look at it, and I almost didn't buy it. It was expensive, but it's really turned out to be one of my top 5 cars in my entire collection. And that is the Kyosho the more I look at this, it just keeps growing on me and growing. Absolutely beautiful car. Doesn't say the year, but I don't know. I don't think Lexus made the LFA that long. But man, this is awesome. It's just one of the best looking cars in my collection. This is what I would call a collection keeper. It's one that It would be one of the very last ones I'd ever sell if I ever did decide to sell my collection and stop. But tons and tons of detail on this car. You can see rear defrost, lens headlights and taillights, prototypical wheels, rubber tires. It is a static display. It kind of rolls, and you can tell it wants to roll, but there is something holding it up. A lot of detail on the base too. But yeah, one of my favorites right here. Alright, well thanks for watching. Heading to the Toy Pimps tomorrow night, so have some good stuff either tomorrow night or Wednesday. So I'll holler at you all then. You guys take care, have a good night. I'll holler at the next one.